Here is the story translated into English, aiming to maintain the original tone, style, and flow. People often say that words are like the wind, easily blown away. Yet some words are sharp as knives, piercing straight into our minds, lingering there to gnaw at our self-confidence day by day. Today's story is about a young man who learned to transform those venomous words into mere whispers carried by the wind. In a small village where news traveled faster than a fleeting breeze, lived a boy named Raghav. He was renowned not only for his intelligence, but also for his diligent and hardworking nature. Raghav was the pride of his family, a shining example for the other children in the village. Everyone believed he was destined for great things, that he would transcend village life and venture into the vast world beyond. However, life is not always a path strewn with roses. The 12th grade graduation exam, the most crucial test determining his future, arrived. Raghav poured his heart and soul into his studies, burning the midnight oil and rising before dawn, tirelessly poring over his books. Yet, perhaps due to immense pressure or simply a stroke of ill fortune, the results came back like a bucket of cold water dousing the flame of his hope. Raghav had failed one subject. This news exploded like a bomb in the tranquil village. The bright star they had once lauded suddenly became the subject of whispers, snickers, and even pitying glances. "Thought he was so clever, turns out he's nothing special," one person remarked. "It just goes to show, talent doesn't always translate to exam success," another added. These words, whether uttered intentionally or not, transformed into thousands of invisible needles pricking Raghav's tender heart. The once confident and lively boy now retreated into himself. He dreaded leaving the house, fearing the judging eyes and the incessant murmurs. His self-confidence shattered into fragments. Raghav began to doubt his own abilities. Perhaps he wasn't good enough. Perhaps he truly was a failure. His small room became his entire world, a safe sanctuary from the judgment of the outside. Teacher Karim, a revered elder in the village, witnessed the decline of his once promising student. He didn't arrive to lecture on morality or offer empty words of comfort. One afternoon, he sought out Raghav's home, carrying a metal pitcher filled to the brim with fresh milk. He looked at Raghav with gentle eyes and said, "Raghav, I have a small challenge for you. Take this pitcher of milk for a walk around the village and return here. The sole condition is that you must not spill even a single drop." Raghav looked at his teacher in astonishment. Amidst his despair, this challenge seemed utterly peculiar and pointless. Yet, out of respect for Teacher Karim, he nodded in agreement. He carefully lifted the pitcher. It was heavier than he anticipated, and the surface of the milk shimmered, threatening to slosh over with the slightest movement. Raghav took his first steps out of the gate. His heart pounded. He heard the neighboring aunties, gathered nearby, begin to whisper. He felt their gazes fixed upon him. For a fleeting moment, confusion set in, his hand trembled, and a few drops of milk nearly sloshed over. Instantly, Raghav snapped to attention. He realized that if he continued to dwell on his surroundings, he would undoubtedly fail. And then, a miraculous transformation occurred within Raghav's mind. He resolved to ignore everything. His gaze was fixed intently on the mouth of the pitcher. His mind narrowed its focus to a single task, keeping the milk as surface as still as a placid lake. He regulated his breathing, taking slow, deliberate steps. Each footfall was a careful calculation designed to minimize any tremor. The world around him seemed to recede into a blur. The laughter of children at play, the lively calls of market-goers, the hushed whispers of those gathered on their porches. All these sounds were still present, but they no longer penetrated his consciousness. They transformed into a meaningless background hum, a distant, irrelevant current. Raghav's world had now shrunk, encompassing only himself, his steady hands, and the fragile pitcher of milk. He was no longer Raghav, the boy who had failed his exam. He was a guardian, entrusted with the mission of delivering the milk safely to its destination. When Raghav completed his circuit and returned, his forehead was beaded with sweat, yet his expression was utterly serene. Teacher Karim greeted him with a smile. He gazed at the stillful pitcher and asked, "Along the way, did you hear anything the villagers said about you? Did you notice anyone pointing or scoffing?" Raghav paused for a moment, lost in thought. He tried to sift through his memories of the journey he had just completed. Strangely, he couldn't recall any specific words or glances. He shook his head and replied truthfully, "Teacher, I heard nothing at all, nor did I notice anyone looking at me. All my attention was concentrated on keeping the milk from spilling." Teacher Karim nodded, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. He placed a hand on Raghav's shoulder and spoke slowly, "That, Raghav, is precisely the lesson I wanted you to grasp. When your mind is entirely focused on a significant goal, when you pour all your energy, they may still exist, but they will no longer possess the power to affect you. They become invisible." He continued to explain, "This pitcher of milk represents your goals, your dreams. The villagers' taunts are akin to the distractions and noise along your path. If you allow them to occupy your mind, you will falter and spill the milk. But if you concentrate on your objective, you will stride steadily forward, undisturbed by anything. The upcoming exam is no different. View it as this pitcher of milk. Focus intently on your studies, on acquiring knowledge, on your goal of passing. When you do, the words of others will cease to be a burden and will become nothing more than a passing breeze." Teacher Karim's words were like a cool, refreshing stream irrigating Raghav's parched soul. The boy suddenly awakened. He understood. The issue wasn't in what others said, but in his own act of allowing those words to invade his mind. He had granted them the power to wound him. The lesson of the milk pitcher had bestowed upon him a new weapon, an unyielding shield, the power of focus. From that day forward, a completely new Raghav emerged. He no longer cowered. He sat at his study desk with an unprecedented determination and inner strength. Whenever whispers still echoed in his ears, he would recall the image of himself carefully carrying the pitcher of milk. He would take a deep breath, dismiss all extraneous noise, and concentrate entirely on the words before him. His mind had become an impenetrable fortress. Gradually, he ceased to care what others thought of him. The energy he once expended on sadness and self-doubt was now channeled into a powerful motivation for learning. And then, inevitably, the time came. Raghav passed his re-examination with flying colors. But his greatest triumph was not merely the scores on his report card. His most profound victory was rediscovering himself, reclaiming his self-confidence, and learning one of life's most invaluable lessons. He understood that a focused mind is an unshakable mind. It serves as a lighthouse, guiding us true amidst the tempest of judgment and negativity. Raghav's story serves as a potent reminder for all of us. In life, everyone will stumble at times, and everyone will inevitably face doubt and criticism from others. During such moments, instead of succumbing to sadness and self-pity, remember the lesson of the milk pitcher. Clearly define your objectives and pour your entire mind, heart, and energy into them. When you focus profoundly on your journey, on your aspirations, you will realize that the surrounding noise is merely an insignificant hum. Focus is the very key that enables us to overcome all pressures, conquer fear, and steadfastly ascend to the heights we aspire to. Find your own pitcher of milk and walk courageously, no matter how clamorous the world outside may be.